When grandparents undermine your rules. Few situations test your resolve as a parent more than seeing your carefully thought-out rules fly out the window the moment your kids are with their grandparents. Have you ever told your child no sweets before dinner, only to walk in and see grandma sliding over a cookie with a wink? Or maybe your dad declares that bedtime can wait, just as you're winding the kids down. That pit in the stomach feeling, the confusion in your child's eyes, and the awkward tension in the room, these moments are more than just little irritations. They quietly threaten what you're building: a home with clear values, emotional consistency, and trust. Most parents I meet feel stuck between wanting to respect and honor elders and needing their own parenting decisions to hold weight. That's real. It's not about being controlling or ungrateful. You're trying to raise your child with intention, but sometimes it feels like you're speaking a whole different language from the older generation. Here's the good news: you can set boundaries firmly and kindly. By the end of this video, you'll have practical tools and real-life scripts to help you navigate these moments, protect your values, and maintain respectful relationships with grandparents. We'll break down how to identify what truly matters, have those tough private conversations, and exactly what to say when you need to step in. If you ever feel lost between honoring your parents and protecting your parenting choices, you are absolutely not alone. If any of this feels familiar or comforting, pause just for a second to like this video and subscribe to Calm Roots Parenting. Tell me in the comments, how old are your kids, and what's the biggest rules struggle you've had with family? Your voice really matters, and your story might help another parent feel less alone. Let's start with the heart of the struggle: mixed messages. Why does it cut so deep when someone else disregards your rules, even if they mean well? Brain science shows that children thrive on connection and consistency. In the early years, every loving interaction you have is literally wiring their brain for trust and self-regulation. But when rules shift depending on where they are or who's in charge, children get the message that boundaries are wobbly. Even small contradictions, like one adult saying yes to more screen time when you've said no, can undermine not just your authority, but your child's sense of clarity and emotional security. These aren't just power struggles. They're moments that build or erode the foundation you're working so hard to create. And let's be honest, many of us learned what family rules were from our childhood homes, and sometimes those old patterns come roaring back during visits from grandparents. Maybe you remember feeling small when adults had secret talks or rolled their eyes at your parents' rules. Maybe you learned to keep the peace at any cost. Now, in your own home, you want something different for your family. You want to stay connected while holding strong to your values. This is not about being rigid or disrespectful. It's about protecting your child's developing sense of trust. So how do you actually do this without causing drama, guilt, or endless pushback? Here's the first step. Get clear for yourself on which rules are truly non-negotiable. Not everything is worth a hill to die on. Pick your essentials, the boundaries that are about your child's physical or emotional well-being. Maybe it's sleep, safety, language, or limits around food and treats. When you know your why, you're less likely to get rattled by side issues or thrown off by guilt trips. Before the next family visit, take 5 quiet minutes to jot down your non-negotiables just for you, not for a big declaration to the family. This is your anchor. The next big piece is talking to grandparents privately whenever possible, away from little ears and big emotions. It's so tempting to let things slide or to vent after the fact, but a calm, private talk before things get heated gives both sides a chance to reset. Here's a way to start. Mom, I know you love the kids, and I really appreciate all you do. There are a few routines that are really important for us, like bedtime and no sweets before meals. It would mean a lot to me if we could stick to those. Is that okay? The key here is to show appreciation while stating the need, and to make it about what's best for your child, not a criticism of their way. Sometimes, grandparents carry their own hopes and hurts from years ago. A little empathy for their feelings goes a long way. Now, what about those moments when something happens right in front of you? Do you just let it go to avoid conflict? Do you call it out on the spot? Here's where a short, respectful script saves the day and keeps things from escalating. Let's pretend Grandpa is offering your toddler a big piece of cake right before dinner. You can say, "Thanks, Dad. We're almost ready for supper, so we'll save this for dessert after we eat." Notice that you're not shaming or scolding. You're redirecting smoothly, honoring both your boundary and his goodwill. If you need to, follow up later with a gentle reminder out of the child's hearing. If it's about discipline, say, "Grandma says, you don't need to say sorry when you're guiding your child through making amends." A firm but kind response might be, "We're practicing saying sorry in our family. It helps us all learn. Thanks for understanding." Again, you're not debating or inviting an argument. You're simply restating your boundary. This kind of calm, consistent correction models emotional intelligence not just for your child, but for everyone in the room. If hearing this makes you realize just how hard these family boundaries can feel, take a breath. In most families, this tension isn't about stubbornness or lack of love. It's often about old patterns and a deep desire for closeness. If you've ever walked away from a visit feeling resentful or defeated, your feelings are valid. Please leave a comment about which boundaries feel hardest to hold with your family. Share this video with a friend who may be struggling with the same guilt or confusion. And if you haven't yet, please hit subscribe to Calm Roots Parenting for more support. Let's talk about those tricky moments when your rule gets undermined in front of your child and you feel the flash of embarrassment or even betrayal. The safest move for your child's emotional world is to avoid big confrontations in front of them. Why? Because when adults start arguing over the rules, kids may feel responsible for the conflict or start testing limits to see who wins. Instead, try this. Use a short, gentle phrase to redirect and move on, then have a private conversation with the grandparent later. For example, if your father-in-law says, "Oh, come on, let him watch just a little more TV, it's not a big deal," you might respond, "We're going to stick to our plan for screens today, but let's all play a game together after." You're standing firm, but you're also inviting connection. But what if you've tried, and grandparent boundaries are still ignored? Here's where you need a leaving with dignity plan. Have a go-to script or action for when it's time to exit gracefully. For instance, "We have to get home for bedtime. Thanks for having us." Or, "We're going to take a little break and try again another day." You're not making a scene or blaming, but you're protecting your child's routine. Over time, this calm persistence sends a clear message that your boundaries matter and you don't have to escalate to get respect. When you do this, when you calmly protect your rules while being warm with grandparents, you give your child a powerful lesson. You show them that respect goes both ways and that it's possible to hold boundaries without exploding, shaming, or withdrawing love. Your child learns consistency, emotional safety, and the courage to stand up for their needs. And even if things aren't smooth right away, you're modeling a new way of relating for the entire family. Let's gently remind ourselves, none of us learned these skills growing up, especially if we came from homes where boundaries didn't exist or were crossed often. So, if you're still working on these conversations, if your voice shakes or you replay awkward car rides home, you're not failing. You're breaking cycles and planting seeds for healthier generations to come. One more bonus tip. When a grandparent honors a boundary even one time, notice it and thank them. A simple "thanks for helping us with bedtime, I know it's different from when we were kids," goes a long way to building trust. The goal isn't perfection or control, it's a home where everyone feels respected, especially your child. I hope you feel encouraged and a little more equipped to stand up for your values, even when the family dynamic gets complicated. If you're going to try one of these boundary scripts on your next visit or call, let me know in the comments which one. Remember to like this video, subscribe to Calm Roots Parenting, and share one boundary you need to protect with your extended family. And if grandparent relationships are a recurring challenge, check out our next video about how to heal old hurts while building new family traditions. You're not alone on this journey. Your courage is already making a difference for your family.